I'm Mint Salad, and I saw Thor. It's directed by Kenneth Branagh, Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, and Tom Hiddleston. I've only seen this movie once before. I don't really remember much of the beginning, but I do remember all of the pretty colors, and I'm glad that I got reminded of the pretty colors when I rewatched this movie. It starts off with the opening scenario being similar to how they did it in Iron Man. It starts off with middle of an action. This time it's the middle of a storm. You get to see these humans navigate the storm, and then out of nowhere, boom, Thor appears out of nowhere. In the middle of the storm, where does he come from? Well, the next scenes are now establishing where he came from. I like how the movie establishes pretty early on that Thor is a very arrogant kid, and he knows for a fact that he's going to be the king. Loki's the brother under the shadow, so he feels the pain of, I'm not going to be the king unless I betray my brother or something happens. Wink, wink. And he doesn't feel like he's as loved as Thor by his father. Flash forward to when Thor is appointed king, or almost, until the Frostwalkers come. Who let them in? We don't know. What the hell? And it's established pretty early on that, hey, the Frostwalkers are the Asgardian enemies, so they could be here for an enemy invasion. They could be murder, death, killing people. Who knows? All we know is that Thor cannot be king. He has to wait. But he's a little arrogant prick. He's like, I deserve it. I deserve being king. I deserve all of this. But of course, the father's like, brother, no, chill. And Thor doesn't chill. He feels it is his right to face the enemy, face the Frostwalkers that denied his right as a king. This is all ego-driven as hell. He gets his friends to help him along the way. Hey friends, you're here by my side. And they're like, yeah, okay. You're going to help me fight the Frostwalkers. You can't do that. Well, I'm going to make you do it anyway. Okay, and then they help him. Thor goes to the Frostwalkers anyways and starts this all-out war. Their king was taunting a war from him because the king knew that Thor was just a child. He's just picking a fight because he wants to pick a fight. So they all fight. King has to come down and exiles Thor and then goes into sleep. He sleeps forever. I love this establishing backstory, but I love even more Thor's interactions with the humans. He thinks he's a god, and so he interacts with everyone as if they're peasants and they have to do what he says, which is pretty great. He's like, how dare you defy the son of Odin? It's like, humans don't know what the fuck that is, bro. Chill the fuck out. They don't have your perspective. You haven't even considered their perspective at all. Of course you're being treated this way. From the human's perspective, you're just a crazy guy talking about how you're a god of some sort. But Thor attracts a little lady named Natalie Portman, and they're in love. Like, Natalie falls for him, and who wouldn't? It's fucking Chris Hemsworth, man. Natalie Portman's character, by the way, she is a very smart science girl. She's following all these storms. She's been researching all this physics stuff that I don't understand, but she does. So therefore, she's a very strong, independent woman, and I'm not. Because he woos the girl, he convinces her to break into this facility with the hammer. And no sane person in their right mind would allow this person to do this. And I just love the dramatic irony in this movie. The audience knows so much more than the world that Thor inhabits. And it's pretty great seeing the situations in which his social language is much different than human social language, and all the social rules that follow each different society. It's pretty cool to watch. After breaking into the research facility and beating up so many of these security guards, and it's pretty badass, and I just love watching the action while he does it. It's like, pow, ka-jam, pow, you no match for me. I'm the god of thunder over here, alright? I'm going to beat you up. You're in submission to me. Now give me my hammer. But when he gets to the hammer, he reaches and it can't pull out. And so he loses faith. And he's very sad and distraught. He's like, no! And he screams up into the sky. And Odin can hear. And he starts to cry. But the tear hasn't fallen yet. That's later. One of the science guys that was with NATALIE Portman, I think her character's name is Jane, takes Thor to a bar. The scientist guy gives Thor some really good advice. Thor's like, man, it sucks that I made a mistake. And he's like, well, it doesn't feel so bad when you start asking the right questions. And I thought, wow, that's really profound. I gotta think of that more often. Another funny scene that happens after this happens, they take him to a diner where they feed him all of these pancakes and this coffee, and he's ate so many Pop-Tarts. He ate the entire box of Pop-Tarts. How he asks for more pancakes? He takes the mug and he smashes it, and it's startling to everyone. He's like, I love it, I want more. And everyone's, why did you ask that way? Ask nicely. I just love his bravado in this. He's like, I want more. More people should be like that. Demand things more. Oh, also, Loki shows up and he tells Thor that the family's dead. Loki, at this point, super villain. He's a great manipulator, great gaslighter. He can manipulate people so well. He says one thing, expecting them to react a different way from what he's saying. Like, for example, Loki says, no, don't stop, you don't do that. And he knows that Thor disrespects him, so Thor does it anyway. And Loki does this throughout the entire movie, and it's pretty great. Forgot to mention, Loki's king now. And so he has the Guardian guy under his control. The Guardian guy is like, hey, I know what you're up to with the Frostwalkers over there. Those people. What are you hiding from me? Loki's like, you have to listen to me. It is I who control you. The Guardian guy is disobeying Loki, but not on text. When Thor's friends come to him to try to save Thor, he's like, I cannot open the portal for you. But they're like, oh, I want to save Thor. It's like, good. And they're like, what? And he just walks off and opens the portal for them. And Loki knows this, and he tries to stop the Guardian guy from destroying Loki by freezing him, because Loki's a Frostwalker. Who knew? He felt the Tesseract's power and he couldn't resist. So now Thor and his friends are here to stop this metal guy with a death laser beam that's being controlled by Loki from killing them all. And they all try to save everyone from this thing. Thor dies, big surprise. Odin sheds a tear and it falls on his face. And you know what that means? The spell that was cast. The spell that was cast on this hammer comes to life. And now whoever is worthy of the hammer takes the hammer as their own. And guess who's worthy? Heyo, it's Thor. Thor's worthy. So he defeats the bad guy. And it's pretty great. And then he goes to defeat the bigger bad guy, which is Loki. He goes up to Asgard and he destroys the bridge because Loki's trying to freeze this planet of Frostwalkers. This is all a big play of Loki to get the Frostwalkers to come assassinate his father so Loki can be there to stop him from killing his father. So now he looks like the good boy and Thor looks like the bad boy. And this is all a political move. And it's pretty genius on Loki's part. I gotta applaud him for all of this. Bravo. Good job, Loki. The king wakes up and saves Loki and Thor from falling into a deep space. But Loki decides to let go and falls into space. And that's how the movie ends. I like this movie. There's a lot of Dutch angles. And I love the space backgrounds. It looks absolutely beautiful. It is something I wanted on my pants, I wanted on my shirt, I wanted to wear space. And the space that I thought of was this Marvel space right here. It is so beautifully done. The CGI looks excellent. 2011 still holds up today. There were some moments that were a little bit slow for me, but I really enjoyed everyone trying to figure out who the fuck this person was and why are they screaming and yelling and breaking the things. Also, the monster creature at the beginning was a little noticeably CGI, but it's still excellent. It's better than what I can do right now. I must give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's a really good movie. It's a really good introduction to Thor, but the third act's pacing was a little bit weird for me. It was 5 minutes of lead up and then 15 minutes of final fight. And I thought that was a little bit weird pacing wise, but it didn't really subtract much from the movie. And I really enjoyed this movie. If you liked this review, check out patreon.com/ASEpresents. For $3 a month, you get a daily vlog. I got a big vlog coming up in the next couple of days that'll be posted there first, and it encapsulates all of my LA trip recently. Check it out. You can also check out my art at Twitter and Instagram.com/itsmintsalad. Until next time, on Mint Salad Saw.